Hey guys, welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you have not subscribed yet and you are on the podcast platforms, please do go ahead and subscribe for more content to come. And if you are on YouTube, I appreciate you doing the same, as well as hitting that like button while you're at it. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place, and let's get into this podversation/reality chat. Now, the story broke about Monique Samuels, who was previously on the Real Housewives of Potomac, and then she went to Love and Marriage DC, which is the Love and Marriage franchise, I guess we'll call it now, because as we've known for several years now, there's only been Love and Marriage Huntsville on the OWN network, which was the brainchild of Carlos King and formerly the Holtz, but now Melody Cherie and Martell Holt. So Monique Samuels, who left the Real Housewives of Potomac, and I say she was fired. I do believe that she was not asked to return based on her actions from the last season that she was on there, where she assaulted Candace Diller Bassett. Call it what you want, but yeah, Candace was trying to get this wild banshee off of her, but she assaulted her, period. And I don't know why people would think that they would bring her back, because although we've seen them bring Portia's crazy behind back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta on several occasions, for whatever reason, Portia is favored by those in production for whatever reason. And even though she's done some crazy stuff, I think the most she's done was to a friend who wasn't even on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, that they caught a glimpse of her beating her friend up in the alley somewhere. I think this was when Phaedra was on the show, and Phaedra was having a holiday party, and they brought it up at the reunion because Nene, she brought it up, and Portia was like, well, didn't you slap somebody? And Nene says, well, if I did do it, I wasn't crazy enough to do it on camera. Okay. And Portia, she grabbed Kenya's hair and pulled her down to the ground. That was wrong. We know that was wrong. But she was sitting there beating Kenya in the back of her head. I did not agree with what Portia did. But again, she didn't beat Kenya up. And then she did kick Cynthia, or try to something. And Cynthia, she was good enough to defend herself, and she got Portia off of her, okay? But with Monique, she was bashing that girl's head into the table. And then she was on camera saying, you better get her away from me or I'm going to KILL her. So miss me with the, Candace is not a victim and all that other stuff. But this isn't about her. Monique, she wanted to say that the Real Housewives of Potomac was just so toxic. And it probably was, because we know that there were women on there that were jealous of her, i.e., Robin and Giselle. Absolutely jealous of Monique. I agree with that. And that's why I liked Monique prior to her melee with Candace, because I did see the jealousy and the hypocrisy when it came to the green-eyed with envy bandits of Robin and Giselle when it came to Monique. Because in my opinion, I feel that Giselle, one of the reasons why she didn't like Monique is because Giselle has that pretty girl, which isn't a girl. She's been far from a girl for a long time. But I feel that she felt that looking at the life that Monique had and looking at what she feels that she looks like, she should have had that type of light, that because she is of a lighter skin tone, green eyes. Monique is a darker skin tone and all that other stuff. You can say what you want, but I do believe that there were some feelings of that because of the colorism that exists there. Absolutely. But listen, she claimed that the Real Housewives of Potomac was so toxic, okay? And that Carlos King really had to convince her that this was going to be a good place for her. But listen, Carlos King is drama, okay? I was watching past seasons, which they're all past because the show doesn't come on anymore. But I was watching the show Hollywood Divas that is on the Tubi app right now. It used to come on the TV One channel, and there were, I believe, either 3 or 4 seasons of that show. I want to say there were 3 seasons. It had Golden Brooks, Countess Vaughn, formerly of the Parkers, Moesha. She even used to be on 227 when she was a little girl. Golden Bricks of Girlfriends show. Elise Neal, she was on the Hughleys and some other shows. She's done some movies. She's been in Hollywood for a long time. And Paula J. Parker, and it was a good show. I actually really did like the show. I was watching it recently, but Carlos King, that was, I want to say, the first show that he did on his own with initially Todd Tucker, who is married to Candy Burris. And I really did like that show. And I was watching it recently, and I saw how messy Carlos King was on that show. He did that show, and then he did another show called The First 15, which starred Claudia Jordan, Tiffany Pollard from Flavor of Love and I Love New York, Karamo Jackson. He was on a season of The Real World and Queer Eye show, and somebody else. I want to say the girl from Basketball Wives. I can't remember her name at the moment, but Carlos King is messy. And I'm saying all these things to say right now, to bring it back to the Monique Samuels situation and saga, is the fact that I did a previous reality chat / conversation when it was announced earlier this year that Monique was going to be starring in Love and Marriage DC. And I saw a little bit of a live that DJ Richie Sky on his YouTube channel, he played some of where Monique Samuels was on her own platform and Carlos King joined on, and she was just talking about how she just had such a traumatic experience with the Real Housewives of Potomac. It was so toxic, and Carlos King, he really had to convince her to come back to reality TV because she was just done with reality because it was just so toxic. Okay, be that as it may, our opinion, I knew that Monique wanted the spotlight and she wanted to have that attention again because she wasn't really getting it like that versus when she got it when she was on The Real Housewives of Potomac, period. And so this was her opportunity to get back on TV. And I did watch Love and Marriage DC. It didn't get a lot of good reviews, but it is coming back for another season. Rightfully so, because it's a new show. And to be 100% honest, Love and Marriage Huntsville was not that interesting in the beginning either. A lot of people didn't even watch the first season of it. I didn't watch it immediately, but I remember seeing it and I was interested because for the show name and where it was being filmed, I was interested because at the time my husband was sort of, but not really, living in Huntsville for a little while because the company that he was working with was a government contractor that facilitated government work in the countries of Iraq and Afghanistan and Kuwait. So I went down to Huntsville a few times because of that, but he was majority of the time overseas. So I wasn't down there that much, but that's what actually intrigued me about the show. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't even have been interested in watching it initially, but because of the drama that ensued with real life situations, because of Melody's, at the time, husband's unfaithfulness and how it all came to light on the show, that's what drew a lot of people in. Love and Marriage DC was different. You didn't have all of that. But when you have couples together and no marriage is perfect because you have two imperfect people coming together to join into a union, you're going to see things. It's not going to be all smiles and beautiful and sunny days and star-filled sky nights. There is tension, but I don't feel from watching the show Monique really wanted to display that. I do feel that she wanted to control the narrative, and this is a freaking reality show produced by one of the messiest producers out there, Carlos King, period. Okay. So I did a previous conversation where I discussed this when she was talking about the show and how Carlos King convinced her to come back. I talked about this and I said, I don't know if Monique is going to get what she thinks she's going to get coming to this show. So now she's stating that she is not coming back. She and her husband will not be returning to the second season of Love and Marriage DC. And I'm going to play this clip of what she said, and then I'm going to continue with my commentary.
Yeah, so Chris and I were actually planning to be a part of the season. And, we actually wanted to show how we were navigating our marriage issues. And because we know a lot of people can relate to that, we did our initial production meeting, had a house together, kids' hair laid, glam on standby, all of that. But the main reason we didn't start filming was because of contract issues. So God works in mysterious ways, because how convenient was it that this whole divorce narrative was put out there? But the fact that Chris and I, even to this day, we never even started filming, and nobody knew. That wasn't leaked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It just makes me wonder who leaked that narrative. But anyway, the only reason that there was even speculation, like you said, is because they saw this trailer and they were like, wait, where y'all at? So yes, it is true. Chris and I will not be returning.
Okay.
At this point, I think we're done with reality TV. Honestly, I'm just at a place in my life where I will never again allow myself to be devalued. The contract has to make sense for me. And when I'm filming, I'm giving my all. So if you want all of me, you got to make sure that paperwork is straight.
Absolutely.
So, no hard feelings. Business is business, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it. But as always, the show will go on. So shout out to the Tylers and the Silvers. They're going to hold it down. So make sure y'all watch Love and Marriage DC this January. Continue to support them. They are DMV. They are local. They are doing their thing. I love them. But yes, Chris and I, the Samuels, we will not be back.
Wow. So no more reality TV.
No, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. It takes a lot of bravery to be able to put yourself back out there after you've done it before. But then you also have to be smart about it and just know when it's like, you know what, maybe this isn't for us anymore. I'm in a different space in life. And, like I said, business is business. That paperwork got to be straight. And it was crooked. So I said, I'm out.
I know that's right. Well, if you want to keep up with Monique, you just got to turn them radios up now.
Listen. And catch the real Monique here.
Right.
Always.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love it. And I love y'all.
Yeah,
Good morning show. I love y'all.
Yeah, the real petty Monique. And another thing, too.
Yeah, and the troll Todd D. That's who he is.
But another thing, too, I think is good, too, is that you all have been hanging out, like you and some of the cast members. So it's all good. If people want to have any speculation about how y'all are doing it, no, all you got to do is follow the Instagram. Y'all are hanging out, partying with each other. Y'all just celebrated Tasha's birthday. So It's all good.
Yep, and I actually saw Carlos King at Portia's wedding at the Nigerian ceremony, and I was able to see him, and me and him have talked, and, it is what it is. So there's no hard feelings, and I have nothing negative to say about anybody. It's just, it is what it is,
Okay, so you heard that. And she doesn't owe us any explicit explanations as to what she meant by all the I's need to be dotted and the T's need to be crossed and everything needs to be straight, but the paperwork is looking a little crooked. So I don't know if that means the money, because apparently you were willing to put your life out there before on the Real Housewives of Potomac, and we know that they were paying more than what the Love and Marriage Huntsville show was paying. We already know that. Like, we don't have to see the paperwork to know that. And two, we already know that because the Bravo network has more money to spend versus not just the OWN network, but with the Carlos King production. And when Monique was on the reunion for the last season that she was on, and Andy asked her about technically the money, and she was like, well, that little check is nothing in comparison to what Chris has. And she downplayed the money with that. So if she downplayed the money with that, what she was getting paid more for the Real Housewives of Potomac, and then she says with this, the paperwork has to be straight and it was looking a little crooked, I don't think it was the money. Now, she probably was expecting more money this season than the last, and they probably did not do that. But I don't think it was about the money. We know that the stories and the rumors came out about their marriage. We heard that they were separating and filing for divorce, and then she came out on her social media and said that it was a lie, and at People magazine, they were very irresponsible for putting that information out there. But People is a pretty credible source. So I felt that they were trolling us. I really did. And it is what it is. What I'm thinking is that there was going to be more delving into their personal relationship than she was comfortable with sharing. Because if you remember, they were talking about these rumors about her possibly stepping out on Chris with the personal trainer, and that there were supposedly these rumors about the youngest child. Maybe it's not his, maybe it is his, but it possibly, she was messing around with someone else during the time she was either about to become pregnant or whatever the case was. And the former friend of Monique, who used to be a best friend, I think her name was Gigi, it's possible that there may have been some things in the contract with regards to other situations that she did not care to bring up on television for people to see, because she was adamant about people not coming for marriages when they had that little vacation trip at one of their properties when they were on the last season of The Real Housewives of Potomac. I do believe it has something more to do with the personal versus the money, because I don't think they're hard pressed for the cash. They're not, and good for them. And it's good for them to step away if this is like, you know what, if it's going to cause a rift in our relationship, we don't need that. I don't think Chris ever was the one to say, I want to do reality TV. He did this because his wife wanted it, because she loves attention. She really loves attention, okay? She loves to talk. She loves the cameras to be on her. She loves the attention. And hey, if that's what you want, then fine. But if you're going to be on reality TV, you have to know that that is a reality of reality TV. And I'm not surprised, because I'm going to put a link in the description box to the video that I did talking about the situation previously when she announced that she was going to be on the show. I said that I didn't think that she was going to really be happy with what she was going to be getting from being on the show. And it wasn't so much about the money. So I am not surprised. I say, girl, save your marriage. Do what you need to do to save face, if that's what it is as well. And get off of reality TV. She said she was done with it before she got on this show. And I felt like she just was kind of, what's the word that I want to use? I believe Carlos King was blowing smoke to make her feel that it was going to be a whole lot more than what she was going to be down for. And I believe that she was going to get a gist of that in the second season had she allowed this to proceed and move forward. Because she already got a lot of backlash and people didn't see her in as much of a favorable light being on LAMDC than she did when she was on the Real Housewives of Potomac. And that's the crazy part of it as well. Because as much as I was not here for Monique's actions and her not taking accountability and just standing in the fact that she was wrong and apologizing to this girl, Candace, about what she did, because she admitted it, but then she backtracked on it, that she took out her anger and aggression that were other things going on in her life, and she took it out on Candace. People were still down for her more during that time than they were after she was on Love and Marriage DC. A lot of people felt like she was not a very caring wife. They felt a lot of things that they shared about her, that they saw her in a different light being on this show than being on the other, even after assaulting somebody. So that says a lot, okay? That says a lot. I would really love to know what you guys think about this in the comments section. So were you surprised to hear that she wasn't going to be returning to Love and Marriage DC? I can't say that I was really surprised, but it is what it is. I honestly don't wish them anything but the best, because I hate to see marriages break up, especially when it does seem that people really love each other, but they're just issues that they just need to work out. And don't do it on social media or do it in the public eye, and especially not on a reality TV show, because this is the market of drama. And if you want to have a loving, peaceable atmosphere, then it's just not going to be on a reality show, period. So you guys let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And until the next time, this is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest.